economic side of the coronavirus equation. I want to bring in Sara Nelson, International President of the Association of Flight Attendants, and Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize-winning economist, author of People, Power, and Profits. And Professor Stiglitz, let me start with you with something the President said tonight. People are talking in apocalyptic terms about what we're going to see happen to the economy. Unemployment at 25 or 30%, GDP diminished in numbers we've never even seen in the Great Depression. This is what the President said about basically saying, look, there are going to be repercussions and deaths from that level of economic devastation. Take a listen.
We can't turn that off and think it's going to be wonderful. There'll be tremendous repercussions. There will be a tremendous death from that. Death. You know, you're talking about death. Probably more death from that than anything that we're talking about with respect to the virus.
Now, I don't necessarily think that's correct about more death than what we are, but it is true that this level of economic dislocation has just profound consequences, right, Professor Stiglitz?
That's right. It will have profound consequences, and I think the numbers that have been bandied around, unemployment in excess of 20%, an unprecedented decline in GDP, are right. But the balance between the potential death of 3 million and the economy, I think there's no way that any reasonable person could come to his conclusion. And the point you made earlier is absolutely right. If people are worried about getting the disease by going to work, by going to the store, by going to a restaurant, it's not going to happen. Our economy is going to implode, whether we shut things down or not. And it's better to do it in an organized way. The alternative is to see the economy go down and death soar. That's really what he's offering.
Sara, you and your members obviously are the front lines of this. You represent flight attendants, and I mean the stats coming out of air travel are just insane. You know, you've been very sort of public about how you think about rescue, right? The federal government's going to have to do something for the airline industry, or the whole thing will collapse. There will not be any airline industry. So how do you think about prioritizing that and conceptually, when your members on the front line of this, about what can be done in the midst of this?
Well, first, Chris, when flight attendants are on a plane, we don't have any options. We can't call for help. We can't walk off when we get frustrated. We actually have to handle the problem. And this is the United States of America, and I think it's absurd to say that we have to either choose death or financial ruin when both are hurtling at us, and we can take on both. And we can take on both by making sure that we are taking care of the individual people on the front lines so they can take care of themselves. So we have put forward a package that says that instead of thinking about from top down economic recovery here, we need to think about from ground up. So we need to make this package be worker centric. And we're doing that by saying that it starts with grants from the government to pass through to payroll. The payroll systems are already in place. We don't need the government to be the HR solution for everything. Let's keep the paychecks going, keep people on the job and able to perform their job. And by the way, flight attendants are still going to work, even though it's drastically reduced, but we have to. And so keep people on the job connected to their health care because their benefits are connected to their job. And so we can actually take people who are today able to care for themselves and make sure that through this national emergency, they can continue to care for themselves so that we can focus on the sick and vulnerable and help our medical professionals on the front line and not overload them. Let's make sure that everyone who can take care of themselves has the means to do that, and the federal government can do that. We are the workers, and we are the taxpayers. Give us our money and help us take care of ourselves so that we can focus as a nation on getting rid of the virus and restarting our economy.
So, Professor Stiglitz, that sort of general conceptual framework here, which I think has been part of the debate we're going to get into in the next segment about the rescue package in the Senate, which is basically, look, essentially, if things were going before, try to keep them going now and use the government which has, incredible borrowing capacity and also the printing press now, to essentially kind of backstop it all, right? Like, just keep it all going, have the government kind of backstop it. Does that make sense to you as a general approach to this?
Well, a general approach of bottom up rather than a top down does make sense. We don't have probably the capacity to distribute 150 million individual checks to different families. We don't even have the capacity to increase our unemployment insurance program 20-fold. So keeping as many people as possible tied to their employers, in a way like Denmark is doing, is a very reasonable way. But on the other hand, I don't like the basic idea of bailouts to the companies. We did that in 2009. The problem was the financial crisis was caused by the companies, by the banks not doing what they should have done. In this case, the companies are partly to blame. We gave them an enormous tax cut in December 2017. Their profits were record profits. And what did they do? They bought back stock. They distributed money to the dividends, high pay for the CEOs. But they didn't put any money aside. I think their shareholders should bear the cost, and the CEOs should bear the cost. And there's an important distinction between bailing out the shareholders and the bondholders and saving the company.
Right. And I think, Sara, you agree with that as well. You have been in touch with the House leadership, and a lot of your ideas have ended up in that legislation. Sara Nelson and Joseph Stiglitz, thank you both for your time tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.